Hi guys, and welcome to week 4. So once again, I just want to let you know in this video to listen out for the password for this week's quiz. So listen for that. That will not appear on the screen. Same information as usual. Make sure we are working from top to bottom, viewing the Start Here video. Obviously, you're doing that now. Take good notes when you learn the content. Week 4 due dates: Wednesday, discussion board. Homework due Sunday, quiz on Monday. Or quiz due Monday, I should say. This week, the discussion board is on the optimal diet, so how linear programming is used in nutrition, and we will introduce probabilities. So, by the way, the password for this week's quiz is probability, exactly as it's spelled here. So make sure you spell that correctly, all lowercase letters, probability. I'll go ahead and wrap up the discussion board on fixing failing systems. So we have our model, and we want to, I'm going to come over to Desmos, and what we want to do is we want to say, well, how do we get a more optimal solution? And of course, we've argued that maybe the average ticket price is too low, maybe the revenue is not high enough given these constraints. So we can come in here and we can change things. So at first, I might ask if I could adjust the number of floor tickets. So that's changing that number 500. Well, I don't want to change that manually, so I'm going to insert a letter. And I'm going to use F in this case to stand for floor, and right away Desmos asks me if I want to insert a slider, and I do. So what I can do here is I can basically play around with this. My function has disappeared because my range on this slider isn't high enough. Of course, we know it should go higher than 5, or hover around 500. So what I'll do is I'll press Edit List and then change this maybe 400 to 600 at first. And step size you can specify, but it doesn't really matter because we don't need to get too exact here. But I'll soon start to see this function appear, and there's 600 tickets. That's not enough. So what I'll come in here and do is change this range from, say, 600 to 1,000, and then I can always come back and I can change those increments a little bit more. Actually didn't hit enter. So 600 to 1,000 to 8,000. Let's try that one more time. Click done. And now, why isn't this working? Let's try this one more time. 600 to 1,000, step size of 1. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there we are at 600, and I'll see as soon as I start moving this pretty soon. Now I have a non-negative answer, but I can't possibly sell floor tickets for 40. Sell one of the 2 tickets. In this case, the price for seats, I can't charge $0. So I'm going to keep going, and of course, as I change the slider, I'll be getting more and more realistic. And obviously, all of these are solutions, so answers vary considerably. At this point, as long as my intersection point is in the first quadrant, we're good. The one thing that I'm going to look out for is right now, I'm charging more for floor tickets than I am for seat tickets. And I think in a lot of our solutions, we had that, but if you know anything about concerts, or if you've gone to concerts before, you know that sit down is going to be more expensive than to stand up. So still, I'm a little high on the floor ticket price. So I'm going to be more realistic here. I'm going to say 1,000 to, we'll say, 1,300. And I really want people who want to sit down. Those are luxury seats. So I really want them to really want that badly. I'd be a bad salesman, wouldn't I? So in any case, now I'm charging $15 for floor tickets and $25 for seat tickets. So maybe that's a little bit more realistic. But again, the idea here, the principle here is that as long as we're in the first quadrant, we have an answer that is permissible. But in terms of, is it practical? Well, then we want to get at, okay, how much are we charging? And what do we want to upcharge? Do we want to charge the floor ticket or the seat ticket? I can go through a similar process. I'll change this back to 500. And I'm not going to change my slider. I'll just make this into F. So I don't have to create a new one, but you can change that to S. Of course, I'll either come in here and change my slider back. I knew that was 250, so I'll go maybe 200 to 400. Looks good for now. Let's see how that looks. And yep, so all I see happening here is that's changing the slope of the line. So what I'm going to need to do is really change the slope. And I see that if I increase this, it looks like this red line is kind of turning into the blue line or turning towards it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to increase my slider and go maybe 400 to 1,000. And again, once again, if you were looking for finer values, and this, because the slider is not going to give you really, allow you to increment by $1 at a time very easily. Okay, there we are. Okay, so now we have real solutions, and right away I already see that I'm charging less for my floor ticket than I am for my seat ticket. So all of these options will give me the right revenue, 705 seat tickets if that's possible. Then I could have that many and charge this price. Again, many answers here. Probably, again, don't want to charge less than that point right there. We want the intersection to probably be somewhere in here. Okay, so of course, same idea for adjusting the price. If I adjust the price, that means I am going to, if I change the average, I think that was the other question. Let's jump back here. If we only change the revenue, okay, if we only change the revenue, then let's see what will happen. If we only change the revenue, okay, so I can change this to maybe R. Okay, so I know that that was 25,000. So I'll go 25,000 to maybe 50,000. Again, then I can change it back later. So I'll click done and see where that puts me. That puts me in the, that's a revenue of $1. That's clearly not possible. And I can see what's happening here as I change the revenue. Now, the higher I make the revenue, the more negative our solution becomes. So that's not what I want, at least the seat ticket price. And so I'm going to go down. Now I'll say, let's go 10,000 to 20,000, 25,000. Whoops. And let's see where we go from there. So, okay, we're entering reasonable range. Again, any point kind of in this this rectangular, this box here would work. So it turns out that if I want that average ticket price and I have that many seats, I'm going to really need to downplay the revenue. My average is not high enough, basically, to give me the revenue of 25,750 is what I'm seeing from this. Okay, so that's the revenue. So let's see, back here, the last thing we want to adjust is the average ticket price. Okay, so maybe I'm already speculating that if I charge a higher average ticket price, maybe I'll just call this A. We can delete that slider. I'll insert one here, delete that slider, and I'll change my average. I know that it has to be higher than $20, so I'll go 2200, and now I'll click done. And so I see that that's basically increasing the vertical intercept. And so again, once I'm in the right box, or I feel like I'm in a reasonable area, which looks like there, I'm now starting to get ticket prices that are reasonable, where I'm charging less for the floor. Okay, there we go, $16 versus $70. That's probably more realistic of like a big concert. But if I really want to make that optimal, then maybe I could have $20. Well, in this case, I guess I could even pick some points here, 27 and 49. In any case, the point is, with this activity, that we can basically change constraints if our solution doesn't work out. Something in our current constraints is prohibiting us from meeting the demands that we want. So have a great week. I look forward to seeing you in the next discussion board on the optimal diet, and have a great week.